I know in a lot of bushcraft circles it is appropriate and necessary, certainly in survival, to rearrange the landscape to help you either be more comfortable or to actually be safe. So if you are in a bad situation and you need to tear down trees or limbs or cut down trees or make a big fire, if it's truly life or death, then that's fine. Leave no trace is not your concern. Leave no trace is for most of us most of the time when we're not in a survival situation, but we're either out practicing our skills or we're out just having fun with the family, with the Boy Scouts, by yourself, however it works out. And I think in some ways, and I had to get over this myself, in some ways this leave no trace notion is a little bit kind of hippie, granola, you know, tree hugger stuff. And I'm okay with that, so don't get mad at me if you're a hippie, granola tree hugger. I think, though, if you look at it a different way, or at least when I looked at it a different way, it made more sense. And that was, it takes a higher degree of skill to leave no trace. You come out here and you're tearing up the landscape thinking that you're an awesome bushcrafter, that is not the right way to think. Well, look at leave no trace in a different way. Look at it as if it is a mark of your skill to not leave a trace. When you make a fire, I should be able to come right past your campsite after you've gone and not know you were ever there. You shouldn't leave a fire scar unless there's one already there. You shouldn't be cutting down foliage or trenching around your shelter. Your shelter should be invisible after you've left. It should be scattered and torn down. All of those things are a mark of high capability. So look at it that way, and please consider looking at those leave no trace rules and adapting them to the things that you do out in the world. You know, this is a really good flat area. The wind is blowing, but it's blowing over the ridge. It's not coming into this area. There's a couple of really good trees here. It's good and flat and smooth. Let me show you. There's a tree here and a tree off camera here. I can rig a shelter if I wanted to. There's only one thing that's wrong with this. It's right in the middle of the freaking trail. So leave no trace tells us that's a bad thing. Do not camp or park yourself permanently on the trail. That impedes other people from getting through. Now, if you are in an emergency situation, maybe you're injured and you can't go off the trail, it's probably wise to stay as close to the trail as you can, as long as it's safe, because that's where people are likely to come and maybe offer rescue or offer you assistance. So leave no trace and survival collide with each other occasionally, and you just have to know what your situation is to know when to invoke one or the other. So stay off the trail, don't camp on the trail unless you have a crisis. Okay, let me preach for just a minute about the leave no trace rules. Part of not leaving a trace is not making a new trail. If there's an established trail, you should use it, because making a new trail makes for new pathways for erosion. So let me show you an example of what has happened here. This is the main trail behind me. So going down this way is the main trail. But going over here is a side trail, and it's a very distinct side trail. There's a reason that there's a side trail there, because you can see a flat rock area. I know probably people have wanted to go to that flat rock area to have a picnic or to just chill and enjoy the world, and I can understand that. But they did it in the wrong way. They took a shortcut to the rock and have started a fairly substantial little side trail here. That would be a no-no for leave no trace. So Heads up, think about those kind of things when you're out here. In two different scenarios, at many years apart, I've been able to profit from looking behind me. One of the ways that I profited was I was on a hike very much like this by myself. I was in much deeper woods in the North Georgia mountains than I am now. I'm not in a super wilderness here. And I stopped and happened to look behind me, and there was a skunk who was about, I don't know, 10 yards behind me and had been walking along behind me for, I guess, quite a while. I don't know. He was very quiet. I wasn't making a lot of noise, and I didn't hear him. But he kept walking toward me. He had a place to be. And so I kept walking and looking over my shoulder and walking and looking over my shoulder. And he and I walked down the trail together about 10 yards apart for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. He didn't mind me. I didn't mind him. But it was a very cool interaction. The second time that I profited by looking behind me was some years later. I was scuba diving with just one other person. So two of us in the big, deep, dark ocean alone. And we had been told by the boat captain, the guy that dropped us off, that there was a bull shark that had been annoying divers. He hadn't really bitten anybody, but they're kind of aggressive and territorial, and this one even more so. So we were down with our prod sticks, and that was about it. Our dive knives and our prod sticks. And we were very much on alert for this bull shark. So we're looking around all the time. We had never looked behind us. So we did. And it wasn't the bull shark. It was 3 juvenile barracudas that were following us. And they were behind us and above us. So they were sort of in the fighter pilot attack position, you know, behind and above. And they were juveniles. They were fairly small. They were probably as long as my leg. Very, you know, very fast, cigar-shaped barracudas. And afterwards, we did some research and talked about it. And the barracudas are very curious predator animals, a lot like coyotes, a lot like wolves. And they saw us hanging out, and they were coming along to see what we were up to. They weren't really looking for trouble. We sure weren't looking for trouble. But again, those 3 barracudas, whenever we stopped, they stopped. Whenever we moved on, they moved on. And they sort of just hung with us for, who knows, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then I looked back one time and they were all gone. So every now and then, look behind you, and you may have a story out of it.